So today I'm working on my 2024 calendar, and what we're looking at here, are just a series of thumbnails that I did actually in 2022 for my 2023 calendar. So what you're looking at here are a few that I have come up with. Of course, things change over the course of the year when you're working on images, especially for a project like a calendar. I may have, during my working process, something pop into my head and I'll shift course with an image. But I do try to plan these with enough time to give an idea of what I'm going to conceptualize as far as the characters and settings and any possible themes in the calendar. But as far as this painting here, these sketches right here, I think one of them made it into the final calendar. Yeah, it was this one here. It's this upper left corner here. This is Alceus Mediterranean. So you can see again, there are several that I already have that were from last year in these thumbnails. So what I'm going to do is just kind of play around with these here, maybe try some different color schemes, see what kind of color palettes I can create. And this is just a way for me to, as I get back into this, because right now as I film this, it's late May of 2023, it's a way for me to get acclimated into creating these single illustrations, because coming off of doing comic book artwork, of course I'm creating the fourth issue of the Realm Ethereal. I'll be doing that concurrently as I'm making paintings for the calendar and doing the comic book series, which is released on my website. They're both very different mental approaches for me. So doing comic book art and then having to switch gears to do something that are like these paintings like these that I'll be making here, yeah, it's a huge shift for me. So yeah, that's what this is here. I'm just going to grab one of my favorite brushes here and just kind of start painting away. Just see what I can do by way of color palettes again, because it's really fun as I'm starting out doing this work, just to experiment with what these paintings could ultimately look like. And so I play around with the colors. And I'm just kind of drawn to this one particular thumbnail here, so I'm going to kind of move up to it. This is some kind of female form. Actually, it is a female form, and she's kind of striking like a bodybuilder pose. It's no secret, I do like referencing bodybuilders for photo reference for my work. Being that I'm a comic book artist, a lot of times what I draw is really just people that are pretty much kind of semi-nude, with the exception of tight-fitting costumes over their bodies, or some kind of clothing over their fully developed muscular physiques, for the most part. This right here is I'm just drawn to it. There are these orb elements, kind of neat. Again, I'm just kind of playing around with some different color palettes as far as what I do, how I want to experiment with these colors. And I mentioned, I mentioned in an email blast that I sent out to my subscribers that this is not necessarily going to be a Realm Ethereal calendar in 2024. What I want to do is grow a wider audience or a wider reach for this project. And I think what that means is I'm going to change the title, that something may be more specific. I would say I haven't been very clear with what it is necessarily. The calendar is related to the Realm Ethereal that I've done in the past, and so that's kind of the name is kind of nebulous, really. Well, I kind of want to call it a fantasy art calendar, but I can't call it fantasy art calendar because that's already taken. But it'll be something along those lines. I think Realm Ethereal is a great title for my comic book series. You know, it's unique, it stands out as a title. But I think to get more eyeballs and more attention on this upcoming calendar, I'm going to title it something different. Something that kind of works with the idea that these are still totally unique paintings and that can create kind of their own world, independent of having to follow my comic book series, which you never really did need to do when you were reading my comic book series, or if you do read it, it's not like you have to read the comics and then you have to go enjoy the calendar and then know that they're related. That was the initial idea when I had made the first calendar, to tie it in with the characters and the comics, and that was the plan for about the last 4 years that I've been making the calendar. But it's good to shake things up, and that's what I'm doing here, just trying to shift things ever so slightly. So with this calendar, that's what my plan is. I want to get it out there where I can slightly veer off of what I've done before. Obviously, my painting style is my painting style. It's just for this 2024 calendar, I'm going to essentially rebrand it as something different, which I'm really excited about. Oh, see, I made a mistake. This is why it's important to always have the layers set up correctly. I think I didn't do that right. That's okay, I'll fix that for next time. Anyway, these are just like little thumbnails. I'm just preparing to come up with like a color palette. Again, really what I'm doing here. Like what you see me doing here as I'm working. These are little mini paintings. I would say, like, by throwing down this color and having the drawings, obviously I did these drawings over a year ago, and it's always good to revisit. And at the same time, these sketches, they never really totally go unused, because anything that I create, I can also draw upon that and pull it out or bring it back for later use, such as the case of what I'm doing here with this particular sketch, and in fact, with these series of thumbnails. So it's really cool. I think I have fun with it. Like this painting here, just thumbnail it, that I'm working on right in front of me. Like, its pose is great. Like, the next step I would probably do is take some reference and try to find some sort of reference for maybe the face or the back and the hands. And I'm probably not going to find that same pose, but I can utilize what I have here as a springboard to continue to develop the painting. So who knows, maybe I will use this image, or maybe I won't, but it's a good start for me. Again, coming off of getting to work on paintings again, digital paintings, because that's what my calendar typically is. My comics are line art, and my calendars are made up of paintings. And I like to go back and forth. I think it keeps me from getting bored. That happens. I have a tendency to bounce back and forth between drawing and painting. What I'm kind of tired of. When I'm kind of tired of one, I'll go to the other, and vice versa. And maybe that's been a little bit of a downfall here. But I got to keep things fresh and exciting. And that's what this does for me, this calendar. It gets my head out of the comic book space, which of course I love doing, but it's good to have variety. And with my calendar, I've built up a tiny amount of momentum, and there are people who are looking forward to getting it. But the plan is to get more people, and to get more people to hop onto this calendar train that I have going. But overall, this is good stuff for me to work on. I enjoy doing this. It helps keep my painting skills up. If I can at least continue to do that, I will be happy. You gotta do what makes you happy, right? So that's what this is all coming from. And this is like my inspiration. It's just keeping that pen, using these tools, my drawing skills, keeping them intact, trying to stay on top of my art game, trying to keep constantly interested and motivated, because that gives me focus. And that's what's important. I gotta stay motivated with what I am doing. And truthfully, it's not hard for me. I love what I do with my art, and to share this with people, anyone and everyone who would like to check it out. So here we go. Obviously, this is just a really rough sketch, but I can totally see myself taking this and developing it into something fantasy and magical. All the stuff that mostly a lot of you know me for already. It's kind of my trademark, the human physique, the human figure, and its spirit, and having them look as powerful and as perfect as I can make them in my mind's eye. So yeah, this is just my process here, and working and trying to figure things out at this stage. This has been really cool just to kind of do this much, even right here. You can't believe it, like coming off of a bit of a dry spell. Like, I haven't painted that much this year at all. And again, we're here at the end of May, going into June, halfway through the year already. And I think I've done one painting for my Realm Ethereal comic book, issue number 3. And so that's all the painting I've done this year. So by me being able to go through this process here, it's just a great way to to get back into the mode of painting, working with some color, and getting excited again about painting and working on my calendar. Because I've got a lot of work ahead of me to pull this off, to be honest. But I'm confident I can do it, because we're not going to be traveling as much this year, and that will give me some time. We do have a trip planned for later, toward the end of the year, last quarter of the year, but that's quite a ways off, actually. But at this point, things are good, and this sketch is simply a cool sketch. So that's our first entry into the process of me starting this calendar for 2024. Me starting to conjure up and dream about these images and what they're going to be. So thanks for watching. I'll be posting more updates about my 2024 art calendar soon, so be sure to check back regularly.